was like, oh my gosh, I can match you. Oh my god. My first round of match and my first choice. Hey everyone, so in this video I am going to talk about my experience with the matching process to get into a dietetic internship. If you're new to my channel, a little bit of background about me. I am currently in a combined master's in dietetic internship program. I'm in my second year of it, and I realized that this video is not going to be super popular because the dietetic profession is so small, so not that many people are interested in it. But I know when I was going through it, it would have been nice to have some questions answered. So I'm hoping I can give you some insight and some tips and tricks onto how I landed my #1 choice of a dietetic internship. So I think I started looking at internships. I felt super pressured because everyone's like, oh, there's this internship is like good for this, and this one has a stipend, and like they knew about all these different internships and their focuses, and it was like a year or two before I was even applying, and I'm like, I felt so overwhelmed by it. And I looked at the Academy of Nutrition Dietetics website for a list of all the internships, and then eventually my DPD program gave it to me. Oh, by the way, I'm going to do a video explaining the whole matching process, I think maybe after this or sometime in the future. But if you already know what it's about, this video will make a lot more sense to you. But whenever I put that up, then maybe go watch it. Or, yeah. Anyways, I knew at that point, when I was applying to internships, all I really knew was that I wanted to do sports. This has since changed, but when I was a senior in undergrad, or junior, summer before senior year, I wanted to go into sports nutrition. I thought it was a really cool field of practice, and I was working with the sports nutrition program and volunteering at my undergrad, and it was great. So I was only really interested in schools that had sports nutrition. So that was Florida State University was one of them. So I knew I wanted to have a master's, and you need one by 2024 anyways to become a registered dietitian. So I was only looking at combined programs. So originally Florida State was my #1 choice. I love Florida State. That's where I did my undergrad. They're one of Florida State and Ohio State were the only two I think I saw with specific sports nutrition track. And I didn't want to live in Ohio, and they only take, like 2 interns anyways, so I knew those chances weren't good, so I was really focusing on Florida State. So that was the one I knew I was going to apply to. And then I'm like, well, I guess I'll apply to University of Florida as well, because I'm from Florida, and so it's easier just to stay in state. And their focus is this is kind of like all over the place. I should have planned this better, but this is kind of just my thought process. So their focus was like community wellness. So I knew if I didn't do sports in my life, I would want to do something community wellness, and that's kind of where I am at this point in my life. Those were the first two I decided. At first it was like I wanted Florida State, and then my second choice would have been UF. Okay, so decided where I'm going. I looked up the requirements, the GRE requirements. This is going to be such a long video. So the GRE requirements, the GPA requirements, what they weight more, whether it's GPA, volunteer hours, like job experiences and stuff like that. I worked at an eating disorder treatment center at the time, so I actually did have really good experience in food service / community, and like I just had a lot of experience. So that's a big tip, is get experience. It looks from my experience looks almost better than like a high GPA. Like these classes are hard, like great, you're smart, but experiences really show your character, and I feel like when you go into an internship, you're more hands-on. So like internships want someone that already knows how to get their hands dirty. Of course, keeping your GPA high is so important too, because if it comes down to two candidates with really good experience, they're probably going to pick the one with the higher GPA. That's how it is. And then GRE scores, I had to take the GRE because I was applying to master's programs. And I looked up for FSU, what I needed to get into FSU, GRE requirements, and it was like 50th percentile in math and reading or higher. And then like a 3.5 on writing or higher. This could be so wrong because this is like 3 years ago. I'm trying to think back on all the numbers. So yeah, that's what I did summer before senior year. And then I was just studying for the GRE a lot. Then I took the GRE and my test scores were pretty good. I only had to take it once, which is awesome. The GRE, from my experience, isn't weighted super heavily. It's just kind of more of a competency, like, can you think? You know, type of thing. Like, if you can get to like 50th or 60th, whatever it was, or higher, then you're pretty competent. And yeah, so I think that's just all. It's just kind of a check mark. Like, can you think? Yes, on to the next thing. I really think experience is like trumps everything in the process. So if you are a sophomore, junior, applying to dietetic internships in your future, start with experience now and follow it through and really get your hands dirty and get as involved as you can. Shadow as many, maybe not as many dietitians as you can. You don't want to fill your plate too much, but like 1 or 2 dietitians in your area, like talk to them, get to know them. Dietetics is such a small community. Like once you know one, it will translate, and like you never know when you'll run into them again. Like everyone kind of knows everybody. So I got my GRE scores, and then I was like, okay, that's it. Then it was time for me to fill out my master's applications to get into grad school, because they're separate. You have to apply to the grad school of like nutrition. Like I was only applying to nutrition programs at FSU. It was a sports nutrition program to get into that program first, and then you have to apply to the internship separately. So just because you got into the grad school doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get into the internship, which is super stressful. So I was applying for grad schools. During the application process, your teachers will tell you to go to your university's writing center so they can review your personal statement. I went to the writing center and they were like telling me to tell a story in my personal statement. What in my childhood led me to this point in my life. Like they wanted me to embellish it as if I was writing like a expository essay or something like that. And then I go to class. We had to take a class solely focused on applying to internships. So in one of those classes, the person that's in charge of the graduate school acceptances was like, don't tell us a story, get right to the point. Let me know where you want to go in dietetics, why you chose dietetics as a profession, your goals in the career, why you want to go to the grad school. Like, be straight to the point. It's only, what, 250 words? 500 words? I don't remember. Don't make it longer than that. It looks bad. It looks like you can't follow directions if you're going over the limit. So they want it concise. And then I had a friend of mine read my personal statement. Get other outside opinions on your personal statement. They tell you, like, don't have your friends read it because they're not as critical. My friends are critical and they tell me the truth. So do that. And then I just had that one that I knew what FSU was looking for, that one personal statement. And I kind of tweaked it based on the other internships I was applying to and what they were looking for. Got into FSU. Awesome. Like, I literally got into grad school. That was such a good feeling. And then I got into UF. And I'm like, oh. I wasn't expecting to get into UF. They only accept, at the time, the program was only 6 people. They only accept 6 internships. And that kind of threw me for a loop a little bit. And I called my friend. Okay, I have no idea where I just ended because my memory card filled up and like it doesn't tell me because I can't see the screen. So I don't really know where we left off, but basically, just a little recap. I got into FSU and UF, and then I called my friend and I was like, which one should I apply to? Because FSU accepts 25 people, UF only accepts 6. So I'm like, my chances of getting into UF are like really low. So I called her and like, what should I do? I wasn't expecting to get accepted to the UF master's program. How should I rank them? And she's like, rank UF number 1, FSU number 2. I had a really good relationship with the people at FSU. My teachers, who all wrote letters of recommendation for me, and the DI director. I had a good the DI director, the Dietetic Internship director. I knew my chances of getting into FSU were very good, but I knew if I stayed at FSU, I would have been taking classes with the same teachers that I already had. So I wanted a new experience, to learn from new teachers, and I was talking to a grad student, because I knew some of the grad students in the program at FSU, and I was like, what do you think? Like, what do you think I should do? And one of them actually, 2 of them I knew that did their undergrad at FSU, then went to do their master's at FSU, was like, try somewhere else. Learn from new people. Yes, you know these teachers, but also you just want a new experience. I wanted like a new environment, and I wanted to see if I could get that. So for FSU's internship, if you get into the grad school, but you don't get into the internship, you can still go to grad school and start taking classes and then apply to the internship the year after, and if you didn't get accepted. So it kind of gives you a second chance. Now, for UF, you can get into the grad school, but you can't go there and take classes unless you are accepted into the internship. So, like, for example, at FSU, the graduate school classes are like 40 people large, but only 25 of them are locked into the internship program. Now, my class, I'm at University of Florida now. If you did not know that, I probably should have said that at the beginning. Spoiler alert. But yeah, I'm at UF now, so I was taking all my classes, and there's only 8 people in my class. 8 people got accepted to the internship, and only those people were allowed to take the nutrition classes here, the nutrition master's classes here. Of course, we had other classes that were combined, but the people in those classes were PhD students. I was like, all right, so this is what I'm going to do. This was my game plan going in to match day, or how you rank it on D&D digital. I ranked UF first, then FSU second. I had such a strong feeling I was going to get into FSU's internship. So I'm like, if I don't get into UF, I'll get into FSU. Okay. And then I also applied to New York University and just a random standalone internship in Tampa. Just because. It was on diecast. I already did all the work for it. That was my final decision going to match day. So then I went to school in Tallahassee, Florida, and University of Florida is in Gainesville. It's a 2-hour drive away. I got accepted into the master's program at UF, and it was about a month before decisions came out, I think. Yeah, I was kind of close with this one, but it's a month before I made arrangements to go visit UF, and I think that visit probably changed my life. I would not be sitting right here right now. I'd probably be in Tallahassee right now if I didn't make that trip. I knew I got into the master's program, so I'm like, let me go make this trip. So I went and I met with my person who's my coordinator now, and had a great little tour of the classroom, and talked to her. She answered any of my questions, just make up questions. It was super casual, but just seeing me face to face. And by the way, they have an orientation, and I didn't attend it. I didn't go to any orientations. They're a little formal and impersonal. I think me going one-on-one, talking to my coordinator, was the difference in me getting accepted into the program. I'm just saying. Although UF does have less applicants, so I really don't know. I don't know what the universe wanted from me or for me, but it's obviously this. So if there is a school that an internship that you really want to go to, make a visit. And if it's too far, then make a phone call. You may have all the answers to all the questions you may need. Make something up. Ask them, what their pass rate for the RD exam is, what their acceptance rate is, what kind of jobs do their internships go to. These are all things that you can ask. Some directors might get offended if you ask something that is just on their website. So try to stay away from what is the focus of your internship unless it's unclear on the website. Or what classes do you take? That might be a good one. I don't know what's on there, what's on all the websites. Those are kind of things that I asked. It shows you that you're really, really trying to understand their program, and they might appreciate it, that you're taking interest in their program and they want interns that are interested in them and aren't just a name on a piece of paper with a GPA and a GRE score and 20 hours of volunteering here and there. A little bit of background on myself, the experience I had. I already said I volunteered with the sports nutrition program for 3 years at FSU, or probably more it was 2 years. I worked at the Eating Disorder Treatment Center for 1 year. That was food service. I shadowed various dietitians. I held multiple positions of our Student Dietetic Association Club. I was a member of the Student Dietetic Association all 4 years of college, and was extremely involved in that. Get involved in the major of dietetics, get to know the teachers, just talk to as many people as possible. And if an older student is offering advice or a fellow dietitian is offering advice, think about it, retain it, they went through the process. Take my information, I'm here to help you. So yeah, my Student Dietetic Association, we set up a mentoring program, and that's who I called to ask for advice on how I should rank my internships. She was my friend anyways, so I probably would have done that anyways, but if someone is offering you help, do not be afraid to ask them. I know for a fact, when I graduated and I was in my first year here, I got a lot of texts from the seniors as they were applying. And I was happy, so happy to answer them. Just ask, don't be afraid. Except one I found was kind of weird. This one girl asked me what my GPA was, and I felt that was a little bit too personal. So don't ask what people's GPAs are or their GRE scores unless you know them on that level. I thought it was a little bit too personal because honestly, I didn't have the best GPA. I passed all my classes and whatever. I graduated on time and all of that, but it wasn't I don't put it on my resume like some people do. I didn't make dean's lists or anything like that. I passed the classes I needed to, but I wasn't proud of my GPA, and I felt a little bit I didn't want to talk about it. So, and that's just another thing. My GPA wasn't I don't even remember what it was, but it wasn't bad by any means. But yeah, so I had all that done. I had all my applicants submitted. I knew the people at FSU, so I didn't need to make arrangements there. I made arrangements to go visit my first choice, UF. I had an interview with NYU. It didn't go that well, honestly, because they expected me to go to New York within 2 days' notice. They probably expected I was local, and I told them I was in Florida and I could not make the interview. Also, I completely forgot to pay my application fee, and the interview just didn't go well because it was on Skype and there was technical difficulties with that, but good thing it was my third choice anyways. So, I had everything submitted, and then match day. I worked on match day. Match day is typically on a Sunday. I work from 8 to 6, and the results or the match results come out 7 p.m. and I worked 30 minutes away. So I was fine all day at work, and then 5 o'clock hit, and I was working with a girl who was a year under me in the dietetics program, and then I just start freaking out, and she's like, and I felt bad because I'm like, you're gonna go through this next year. I had to be working, but I was just no, my entire life is about to be told to me in the next 2 hours. Like I was just so fine. That's one piece of advice on match day. Have plans. Like, get out of your house. Go do something. Don't just sit around freaking out, because honestly, me working that day was probably the best possible scenario because I was so distracted with work until it was like close to the end of the day, and then I just had like a pit in my stomach and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to finish this last hour of work and then race home. So I worked 30 minutes away from home, so I got home at 6:30. I'm like, oh my gosh, that was the longest 30 minutes of my life. I was freaking out. I'm like, honestly, I knew it would be fine because I knew I had really good chances, but like a lot of people don't get matched. And I'm like, what do I do if I don't get matched? I had a backup plan. I already got into grad school, but it was just like, I didn't want to feel like a failure, you know? So I'm like, okay, let me take a shower. Quickest shower of my life. Probably like 2 minutes long. I was like, psh, psh. Like, okay, I took a shower. What else do I do? And I was just sitting there, refresh. And then finally at 7 o'clock Eastern, the results popped up and I was matched to the University of Florida, and you have 24 hours to accept the match and say you're going, or else they'll give your spot to somebody else. So I was like, oh my gosh, I can match you. Oh my god. My first round of match and my first choice. I got matched my first choice on my first round. Like, that is amazing. Sorry, my feet are falling asleep. I was so proud of myself, over the moon. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I'm about to go to UF. Like, awesome. So then I had a pizza, a frozen pizza, because I'm like, well, if I get matched, then I'll be really happy and I can eat the pizza. But if I don't get matched, then I'll be really sad and I'll just want to eat my feelings. So that's why I had a pizza. Yeah, so I had a pizza, and the next day I had a presentation. So I couldn't even like celebrate. Like, my coworker was in the grad school at FSU, and she was applying to the internship at FSU for the first time. And she wanted to like go celebrate with me, but I'm like, I can't. Like, I have a presentation. But then the next day we went and celebrated, actually at Gordo's. So if you're in Tallahassee, go to Gordo's. It's a lot of fun. Oh yeah. Okay, so that was Sunday. On the Wednesday, I got an email from the DI director at FSU, who, like I said, I knew. And in the email, she goes, Jessica, did you get matched to an internship? We have a spot for you. We're holding a spot for you here at FSU. And I'm like, is this the universe telling me I should go to FSU's internship? Like, this is my chance to bounce. And I'm like, they wanted me in their internship, which, that's what I like to tell myself. Okay, I don't know what just got left out. Okay, so comment below any questions you may have regarding the match process, the dietetic internship process, or anything like that. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions you may have. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it and would like to see more like it. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss a new video, and follow me on social media. Links are below. Until next time, bye.